MAGA is pretty angry about a new poll that had just come out showing that young Democratic voters don't want to date Trump supporters. Oh, fun. Now, Axios first reported this with the headline, "Young Dems more likely to despise the other party." I love your framing, Axios. That's just great. Now, the study itself looked at about 850 college students, so it was a very, very small sample size, right? Nonetheless, the findings that they have are triggering the right. Now, they found that 71% of Democrats polled, again, these are young college students, would not go on a date with somebody who voted for Donald Trump. Whereas 31% of Republicans surveyed said that they would not go on a date with a Biden voter. So it's all reversed. The numbers are almost reversed. I mean, look at that. That is amazing. So again, in that small sample, you got a majority of young Democrats that are like, yeah, no chuds. I don't like no chuds. Chud is a guy that ain't get no love from me. Oh my God, I gotta stop singing. All right. I apologize to all of you for that. All right. Anyway, now the poll also found 4 out of 10 Democrats would not shop or support a business of Trump voters. Just 7% of Republicans felt the same way about Biden voters. 3 in 10 Biden voters would not work for someone who voted for Trump. Just 7% of Trump voters felt that way about a Biden voting boss. So you might look at this and be like, oh my God, I can't believe these libs are so triggered. Trump supporters, way more accepting, welcoming these stuck-up libs. All we're trying to do is we're trying to make America great again. No. Here's the thing. If you know anything about Donald Trump's positions on policy, they're disastrous. Again, there's incredibly sexist policy coming out of the right wing. They're against reproductive rights. They want to try to get rid of the right to have an abortion, women's reproductive rights, bodily autonomy. You realize the majority of America is pro-choice, especially when you talk about women. Catholic women, for example, I think 99% take some sort of birth control. And the reason I point that out is that there are some model legislation that conservatives have tried to put out that target, again, with these personhood bills, for example, that would target certain forms of birth control that prevent implantation of a fertilized egg into the what is it, the uterus. Oh God, now I'm starting to sound like a Republican, not knowing the body parts. Okay, anyway, but like I said, they're against reproductive rights. They put literally 3 Federalist Society judges on the bench who could very well decide to eliminate the right to an abortion for women. And so now, and that's not the only issue, of course, but I can understand why that would make women not want to have sex with you. You look at things like healthcare, Planned Parenthood, even, which provides things that are way more things than just abortions. Okay, they provide a lot of women's healthcare, and they do so for free. So that's a very important thing that has been nonstop attacked by Republicans, by Trump voters, by MAGA. Again, you look at healthcare in general. Trump care, remember that? That was worse than what we have now, which is already not great. It would have given anybody, free or affordable health care. No, it would have put people in high-risk pools, which would have created a death spiral in our system. He said the minimum wage should be nothing. Younger people, more progressive on economic issues, more progressive on social issues. And so obviously we're also talking about Democrats here that are like, well, obviously, if you support a guy who wants my wages to be nothing, the minimum wage to be nothing, so they can set it as low as they want and have a race to the bottom, I'm not interested in you. I'm just not interested. Not to mention all the horrible sexist shit that he said on Twitter before he got yeeted. And so, yeah, there's plenty of reasons there to not want to associate with people who support Trump. And besides, there's also an opposition to vaccines and masking. wanting to, sacrifice grandma to the almighty stunk market. Turns out a lot of people love grandma. So, and look, the other thing too is that you've noticed, at least I have, I've noticed that there are a lot of people who are, hardcore MAGA, right? That just feel like they're part of some weirdo fan club that run around trying to trigger the libs. And that's it. Well, congratulations. You have indeed triggered the libs. So much so that they don't want to date you or have sex with you. Nailed it. Congratulations. Wow. Well done. Well done. Again, this kind of reminds me of the woman who was alt-right. Okay. And she was complaining in a video that she was not getting any sort of respect from her male alt-right compatriots. You know who those people are, right? You know what they believe in? They don't believe that women should have rights, like voting rights, and do not believe women are equal. They hate any kind of feminism, not just like the third, fourth wave, whatever. No, they hate all feminism. I mean, do you know who these people are? Do you know who these people are? I mean, seriously, what did you expect? And so it is kind of ironic that, a lot of the MAGA chuds are getting super triggered by this poll because they're like, oh no, Democrat women don't want to date me. Oh no. When asked, by the way, too, if they would be friends with someone who voted for Trump, more than 1 in 3 Biden voters said no. But just 5% of Trump voters said that they could not be friends with a Biden voter. And so that's also indicative of I guess, more of an outrage on the left about the positions taken by the right wing. In fact, here's what Axios explains. Democrats argued that the modern GOP positions spearheaded by former President Trump are far outside the mainstream and polite conversation. But for those on the left, it goes even deeper. And by the way, one of you said something really interesting here. Pointed out Madison Cawthorn. I didn't get to cover that video, but during a debate, Madison Cawthorn, and this was when he was speaking in Congress, talked about how women are nothing more than earthen vessels for bearing children. So that's all they are. And again, voting rights also very important. Democrats, obviously Democrats in favor of voting rights. Republicans not. And so, yeah. But there's more. As Axios explains, some have expressed unyielding positions on matters of identity, including abortion, LGBTQ plus rights, and immigration, where they argue human rights and not just policy differences are at stake. And I agree with that. That's absolutely true. 100%. Another reaction here. This is attorney and former DOJ, this is Trump DOJ spokesperson, Sarah Isgur. She commented on this poll saying, quote, doesn't bode well. And no kidding. One former Maine state senator also wrote this, the party of tolerance. And radio host Ross Kaminsky, former board member for the Heartland Institute, which denies climate change. That's another important policy difference. That is a huge, huge problem. Said this, remember which side of the political aisle spends all their time talking about tolerance and diversity? You realize tolerance doesn't mean we have to put up with you, right? That doesn't mean we have to voluntarily spend our time and date people who do not share our values. So, like, here's the thing. Like, okay, you gotta be in society. There's people. I get it, right? We might have to work together. Work with the CHUDS. That doesn't mean I'm forced to go to the bar with you after work. You're not entitled to my free time, bitch. All right. I don't want to spend my free time with people like this. All right. But again, it's the entitlement mentality. Oh, how dare women choose not to date or have sex with me. And again, this is what young Democrats are saying. Like, we don't want to have sex with you. We don't want to date you. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry because I get to choose who I can spend time with. I get to choose who I want to have a relationship with. And I don't want to choose people like you guys. And yet they're like, how dare you make it, make a personal decision not to have sex with me because I love Trump and I love triggering the libs and not giving a shit about other people. How dare you? You're discriminating against me. Right. Really not making a good case if you're saying that. You know what I'm saying? It's just, again, ridiculousness. Look, I'm not, I feel like I'm kind of broad brushing a little bit too much. Even though, again, I'm trying not to, but I did. But here's the thing. Bottom line, dating is hard and people are complicated. Look, I've been married for 10 years. I'm happily married. I'm so happy I don't have to go into the dating pool. Disastrous. It's horrible. Horrible. Not interested at all. But let me give you a weird example of how love can be complicated and how relationships obviously can absolutely transcend political lines. And again, let me couch this in the context of, you remember reading a lot of stories I do during the Trump administration where you had couples that decided to break up because one member is a MAGA Trump voter, or of course you have people falling down the QAnon pipeline, etc., or alt-right pipeline, and their partner's like, no, I can't handle this. Like, gone. I'm out of here. All right. But again, love's complicated. And sometimes those relationships that are cross-political do happen to work. I have a weird example in my own family. My aunt's a Bernie supporter. Loves Bernie Sanders. Voted for him in the primaries. Absolutely. Right? But she is married to a Trump-supporting Republican. And they don't get along at all politically. I mean, this guy's like, mask mandates, vaccine mandates, you're going to put the 5G in my veins. And she's like, I'm off to go get my vaccine now. Somehow, it seems to work. Somehow. So again, I give you that example is, look, it's because love is weird. Human beings are weird. It's complicated. And so this isn't too uncommon. But again, it is interesting to see the younger generation that is, starting to say, no, this is my line. I'm not going to date a chud. I'm not at all interested in MAGA or anyone on that side, in that persuasion. Sorry. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.